How's it going, everyone? Want to give you guys a heads up on an absolutely insane PlayStation 5 game deal. I get that the momentum and the buzz has died out quite a lot for the game, but still, at this price point, I think it's a great pickup, and a lot of other great deals available. One on Amazon, the rest on Woot.com. The sleeper banger spot to buy your games. I've been talking up Woot.com quite a lot. Amazon fulfilled orders over there. Great spot to pick up some great games at great prices. So more on that at the end of this video, but right off the top, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero has been holding up in price quite a lot. I believe it was on sale on the PlayStation Store. Let me actually see if it's on sale on the PlayStation Store right now. I don't believe it is, but it must have been during the sale. I want to say it was 20% off for around like $54 or something of that effect. Well, how about Walmart.com, a physical copy of the game for, what is it? $40? No. $30? No. $20. That is an awesome, that's a tremendous deal for Sparking Zero. Look, I get that there's been some criticism as far as the post-launch support of the game and whatnot, but this is still a fantastic deal. And the single-player content of Sparking Zero, that alone is quite the undertaking as far as direct content availability. You've got quite a few different characters for their story modes, and they're done pretty well. The Goku one, obviously, the lengthiest, but yeah, I still had a lot of fun with Sparking Zero. What I think Sparking Zero reinforced, and I've said this before, is that, man, nostalgia has a shelf life. It can absolutely draw people in, and I remember looking at those concurrent Steam player count numbers, and they were shattering every record for an anime fighting game ever. And really, I believe every fighting game, Sparking Zero just obliterated it. But, you know, that's a lot of people growing up with the Tenkaichi games, and I was definitely in that boat, and I was super hyped for the game, and I had a lot of fun with it. I put hours and hours into the game. Ultimately, that longevity just wasn't there, but as a fun fighting game that you invite friends over and you just have a good time with, man, Sparking Zero is one of the best games I feel in that category. And it's not like I'm gonna take it super seriously. Yeah, I get, like, people were memeing with Yajirobe, people just ran SS4 Gogeta and just nuked everybody, but you know, as a fun fighting game with one of the most iconic franchise in history in Dragon Ball, and just playing that with your boys that are also Dragon Ball fans, I feel like that's always a good time. The tracks in the game, I think, are great. The maps are cool, and for $20, obviously a no-brainer. I think that's an outstanding deal that I would highly recommend. Obviously, if you're a Dragon Ball fan, it's probably been on your radar, but a lot of you guys might be like fringe Dragon Ball fans where you know, you knew the game was coming out, but you didn't want to pay $70 for it or whatever. Now that it's available for $20, I think it's an outstanding deal. Definitely check that out. Alright, moving on from that, do want to give you a heads up that Persona 3 Reload is still available for $20 over on Amazon. I think this is a tremendous deal. Even though I wasn't crazy about Persona 3. I liked Persona 3. I played Persona 3 FES back in the day. Reload, while it's a good remake, a faithful remake, Persona 3 is still a relatively dated experience. The Tartarus, not my cup of tea, I know I'm not a big fan of the design in that, but, you know, overall the game's still really good. The soundtrack is incredible. Mass Destruction, one of the goated battle tracks. And yeah, I mean, with Persona, you always know you're gonna get a good soundtrack, you're gonna get a good cast of characters, you're gonna get a good story, and those three are definitely true with Persona 3 Reload as well. Incredibly stylish. Now, we look forward to Persona 4 Revival, I believe it's called. Yeah, Revival. The remake of Persona 4, which, you know, I would prefer us to move on to Persona 6 at this point. I want to hope that that game is still coming out in my lifetime, but, feels like we'll just be waiting eons and eons, and I think, you know, north of a decade will pass since Persona 5 until we get Persona 6. Really, it's Persona, it's Elder Scrolls, it's Fallout. Man, some of these franchises, they just get benched for a decade now with the game dev cycle increasing exponentially. I get that we did get Metaphor in the interim, so I guess maybe you can consider that our Persona 6, but, man, I do want a Persona 6, and I think there's a couple shifts that you can make with the setting and whatnot to make it more appealing to a global audience, because that's what Persona is now. It's a juggernaut of a global franchise. So $20 for P3R. Go check that out. Good pickup there. Let's rapid fire through the Woot.com deals. There's some good stuff here. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is 50% off for $35. Yeah, at this point, it's 18 months removed since the release of FF7 Rebirth, which is kind of insane. Man, that reveal on Part 3 probably gonna be coming here fairly soon. I thought Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was fantastic. Did it have its issues? Yeah, some of the minigames weren't great, but man, as a significant improvement upon FF7 Remake, it was exactly that. It was a sizable improvement upon that game. So much more content. Obviously, you had much more open areas to explore. The gameplay was better, and with FF7 Rebirth, this is where you get cooking with the Final Fantasy VII narrative. Remake was good. It set the table, everything like that, but Rebirth is when, you know, you're actually on the adventure, you know what I mean? And with that, they executed it very well. Obviously, you know, some twists and turns as opposed to the original game. It's not a complete one-to-one remake, and some people aren't crazy about that fact. I liked the changes that they made because at the end of the day, the original still exists. I can go back and play that. And I've said it with Rebirth. If you want to view it as a train wreck, you know, you can view it as a train wreck as far as the narrative goes, but I still think it's incredibly well done as far as the game is concerned. $35 on that. Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak 2. Yeah, we've been out in this video. $35 on that. I liked Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak 2, however, it was the sequel to Trails Through Daybreak, which I legitimately consider one of, if not the best Legend of Heroes game ever released. I think that game just culminated in terms of all of the improvements that the franchise has made. The story was really good. You had a really strong new main character in Van. I think Van is my favorite character in all of Legend of Heroes, and you know, I do like it when a JRPG goes the route of having a older, more mature JRPG, even though, you know, saying mature, Van's got, like, a comedic streak to him, and the story itself can have a little bit of that comedy there for sure, but just having an older lead, I think, goes a long way, especially given, bro, if you started playing Legend of Heroes in the middle of it or at the infancy of it, you damn near have aged like 2 decades, so it's like, you know, we've gotten older playing the Legend of Heroes games as well, so I think Van, as an older lead, makes a lot of sense, and he's only like, he's 24, so it's not even like he's a washed up old man, but you get the idea. $35 on that. It's not as good as Daybreak 1. Some of the storytelling elements just aren't great, but it's still essential to the story, and with Part 3 coming out, not Daybreak 3, but Trails Beyond the Horizon, which is essentially Part 3 of the Calvard arc, you should probably go play this before that comes out. And that game should be tremendous. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, the gold edition is $50, so this gets you the DLC as well. The Xbox copy is actually $40 on Woot.com, and that is a nuts deal, but $50 for the gold edition, still a pretty good deal. I've talked about KCD2 ad nauseum. It's a game that some people are absolutely gonna love, other people not as much, and they might get turned off by the combat. That's the general main complaint that I always hear about the game, but I ended up enjoying it. I thought it had a really cool world to explore, and I like that historic setting and backdrop, so $50 on that. That'll get you the DLC as well. And then finally, Sonic X Shadow Generations, $23 on this. Outstanding deal for Sonic X Shadow Generations. The Shadow campaign is phenomenal, even though it's a bit on the shorter side. You can complete it in, you know, 6 to 7 hours. Sonic Generations, great game there as well. I did another, when Shadow Generations came out, I played through the Shadow campaign first, of course, but then I went back and played Sonic Generations as well, and I'm like, man, Sonic Generations is a great game, and having it upgraded, it's still good. It's just $50 might have been a little bit sizable of a price point for all that. $23, okay, we're absolutely cooking at this price point and definitely recommend that. But that is going to do it for me. Again, that Sparking Zero deal is absolutely insane. Go check that out. A lot of other great deals as well. Persona 3 Reload and Woot.com. Again, the sleeper spot to pick up your games. They've got outstanding deals all the time. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.